What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Yankees Avenue Show on the Yankees Avenue YouTube channel. As usual, I'm Patrick Hennessy. That's Dan Rourke. Dan, how are we doing on this terrific Tuesday morning?
I'm doing great, Pat. I am excited to talk Yankee baseball. That's what I want to get to here. Okay. But we do have some big news that we got to get to first. And that is, guys, we are doing an opening day tickets giveaway. Now, there's going to be a quick turnaround on this. Pat's going to let you know how you can enter, but wanted to give back. And this is our chance of doing so. Pat, give him the details.
Yeah, so like Dan said, we're giving away 2 tickets to opening day to 1 lucky winner. In order to enter, you're going to do this for us. You're going to like this video. You're going to comment down below your favorite player on the Yankees going into the 2023 season. And then when you're done with that, you're going to DM at Yankees Ave Show on Twitter with proof. And then you're entered in the giveaway. We're going to announce the giveaway winner on Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. And then you have 3 hours, just 3 hours to claim your tickets after we shoot you that DM. And if not, then we kind of have to move on to somebody else because since it's like a 24-hour turnaround time, we have to make sure that we could get the winner their tickets. So, yeah, I think it's just a nice way of us being able to give back to you guys.
Yeah, be quick with it, yo. Like, I know it's kind of last minute notice, if you will, but kind of just got to go with it the way it is. Quick turnaround, get those replies in as soon as you can. And also, got to shout out Foco real quick, too.
Yeah. Big shout out to Foco, bro. That's where we got these beautiful hats from. You could use code Yankees Avenue at checkout for 15% off. We'll show you guys some more awesome products later. But yo, they're supplying us with great Yankees merchandise all season long. But Dan, let's get into our 2023 season preview because we got some big news to announce as well. Anthony freaking Volpe is on the opening day roster. It's a topic that we have beat to death over the entire offseason, right? Debating whether or not the Yankees were going to do it, whether or not we had faith in them pulling the trigger. And I'm not going to lie, I was doubtful for the entire offseason that they were actually going to do it. I was like that pessimistic Yankee fan where I was like, dude, like, I just don't see it happening. They finally did it. They made the smart move. They made the right move, and Anthony Volpe will be on the opening day roster. But now we're kind of previewing the Yankees lineup as a whole with Anthony Volpe included, which is kind of crazy to say. But do we think that he's maybe the missing piece now that will finally get the Yankees over the hump of the Astros in the playoffs?
Nope. But he does get them a lot closer, Pat. And I just want to touch on Volpe himself real quick. Man, towards the end of spring, it became so obvious to me that, I don't say obvious, but like it was too much of a no-brainer for them not to do it. Now, I don't think it was a universal decision. If you watch back on that video, which is a dope video of Boone telling Volpe that he made the roster, listen to the way Cashman says, like, congrats, man. He doesn't sound all that thrilled about it, but we knew there was some, conversation about who should be the shortstop, regardless of how much Volpe was a clear standout at short. And in the end, the Yankees made the right decision. And I want to give some credit to Hal right now. And, on Twitter, I forget who posted it. I think it may have been my boy Max Manis, but it was circulating the clip from last year when Steinbrenner got booed. Remember that at the Jeter ceremony?
Yeah.
I really think that was a changing moment for him. And I think that in the end played a part in this. You look at the way he stepped in on the Judge contract and he made sure that got done, handling it himself, giving him the 9th year. I wouldn't be shocked because everything we've heard, I'm half kidding about like the whole reaction thing, but we've heard that Cashman has wanted Peraza. Of course, he got sent down. We'll probably talk about him later, but the Yankees made the right decision here. And it's something that makes me feel a lot better about the future, dude. Like them, if they were to, the vibes surrounding opening day, Pat, and you know this, but if they didn't have Volpe on the roster, and even if it was Peraza, no disrespect to him, it would have been a much different scene in the Bronx. Now, on the flip side, the energy is going to be unreal, not just for opening day, but for the season as a whole. And back to the Astros question, Volpe is definitely a big missing piece. And you could argue that what we hope Volpe turns into, if we had him on the ALCS roster last year, who knows? Maybe we do win it. Him on the roster will make a big impact. However, the Yankee lineup still, to me, I think it's their worst since 2017. They do need to add a bat. And that piece is going to come at the deadline, I believe, which is fine. The Yankees assembled a roster that is good enough, in my opinion, to win the American League East. Against getting past the hump of the Astros, not so sure about that. I wanted to make it so I know it's a crapshoot come playoffs, but make it as close of a slam dunk as possible that you will make it a series, a competitive series that you will win. And the way to do that is by acquiring Brian Reynolds at the trade deadline. May take Peraza being traded, may take Dominguez being traded. I'm not being overreactive here whatsoever, Pat. You know this. I've been saying that for months now, maybe over a year. But to wrap up everything I just said, which I know was a lot, Volpe gets them a lot closer. But I still think there's there's some work to be done, but that's okay. It'll come at the trade deadline, hopefully.
Yeah, no,
What say you about all that, Pat? I know it just
I
went on
think
for like
with
5 minutes.
everything that you just said, I think that you described it pretty nicely, just in terms of Anthony Volpe is obviously a huge addition to the lineup. Obviously, if he plays up to the potential that we know he can, but I still don't think that he's the guy that's going to get them past the Houston Astros. And also, they shouldn't be counting on him right now to be the guy to get them past the Astros. He's going to start off as their 9-hitter. I definitely think it is maybe by the beginning of June, he could easily be their leadoff hitter. Bro, I also don't think it's that crazy to predict a 30-30 season from Anthony Volpe this year. Am I expecting it? No. But would I be shocked if it happened? Not at all, bro. Like, that's definitely what I think he's capable of. And I think that this goes back to what we were talking about in our Volpe season preview. I think that his power is going to excel this year. And I think it's just a matter of whether or not, like, the stolen bases are going to match what we saw from him in the minor leagues. But I'm expecting a big power year from Volpe. I don't know why, but I just am. But going back to, like, the Yankees lineup as a whole, I agree when you say that the lineup is probably the worst that they've had since 2017. However, obviously the addition of Volpe kind of changes the entire mood, not only in the fan base, but I would say also in the clubhouse going into the season. Because if not, you were looking at basically the same exact lineup that got swept by the Astros to end the 2022 season.
Judge said he was stressing about it too, like making phone calls and stuff.
Yeah, so it's like now you're finally looking at a team that at least has one new bat that you think can make a substantial impact and provides a team with, I guess, a missing piece just in terms of like that speedy contact guy who, like, the Yankees have seemingly been missing over the past few years. And I think
just causing turmoil on the bases too, real quick. Like, it's not just about the speed. I mean, if you were watching the spring training game, we're recording this on Monday, I'll put the clip in the B-roll, but Rizzo was at the dish, Volpe was at second base, and you just see him dancing off, the pitcher's looking back, and then the pitcher throws a ball. I'm not saying that's the reason why, but like, you go back to the scene from, obviously the movie 42, where Jackie Robinson is messing with the pitcher. The guy ends up balking. He runs home, and the lady was like, "What happened?" And then son goes, "He discombobulated the man." That's what's going on here with Volpe. He's gonna put. I'm serious, bro. Like, go watch the movie. That's what he said, and it's so true. That's what Volpe. That's one of the many factors that he's gonna add to the Yankees this year. Sorry, I kind of cut you off, but
no. Like, basically, like, to culminate my point, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, yes, Volpe being in the Yankees lineup is huge, and it brings my personal excitement from opening day. I texted you this right when we found out the news.
Yeah,
I was like, yo, my excitement for opening day was at like a 4 before, and now it's at like a 10, dude, because it changes everything in terms of like, yo, maybe I'm not as excited for games like 2, 3, 4 when we have like Schmidt, Herman, whatever on the mound, and we'll get into that. But it changes everything for game 1 when we're looking at like Cole on the mound, Judge's first game as Yankees captain, Anthony Volpe's Yankees debut. I tweeted this out earlier today. This is probably the most excited I've been for a Yankees opening day in my lifetime. And whether or not the lineup is able to sustain that level of excitement for me throughout the beginning of the season, time will tell. But as of right now, going into game 1, I'm very excited to see how this Yankees lineup does. And also, one more thing I will say about the lineup. The combination of Aaron Hicks and Josh Donaldson, I am guaranteeing that at least one of those guys is going to have a nice bounce back season.
I'm with you. I mean, I think Donaldson will hit league average, and that could be a W as long as the defense stays there. Like, and I kind of made this mistake too in a little bit. It's like a lot of us are just assuming he's going to be as good as he was defensively. And we've talked about Donaldson, so we won't go too much into him. There has to be a leash, though. Like, if he looks as bad as he did last year, you can't keep in that lineup past like a month or two. But one last thing on Volpe I want to say. Seeing that yesterday was, first of all, the vibes of that day among, it's very rare, in Yankees Twitter, the Yankees world, we talk about the pessimism in the community. It's definitely there. It's very rare to get those days where it kind of feels like universal celebration. The Judge Day was one of them. You'll have like 1 or 2, maybe 3 wins a year. Well, you'll have them, or really any playoff win. That moment when Volpe, it was out of nowhere too. We were expecting roster information. Me and you were just literally talking like, it could come in a couple of days. Next, a tweet drops, Volpe makes the roster. That may have been one of my happiest moments to be a part of like this community, because everybody instantly, bro, it's like when you go from thinking the worst, all of a sudden out of nowhere, like the best happens, right? Like, we are in now a very good place going into opening day. And it's pretty crazy to say it's because of like a 21-year-old kid who's younger than us, which that's nuts too, by the way. That's nuts.
I want to talk about it.
One last thing I do want to say about that. It also is cool because, in a way, for all of us, we probably dreamed to be in the shortstop of the Yankees, right? And to see a kid from Jersey, just like Jeter, I know he only lived there till he was 5, but like, it's like, bro, like, that's essentially like that's like one of us out there in a way. Like he's
Sure.
our age and he's living this dream. Like I can't even. It's cool, dude. It's cool. So shout out Anthony Volpe. Do you think he's gonna keep 77?
Yeah, that's another thing I want to talk. I'll touch on that real quick. But before that, I just want to bring up, like, I think the whole, like, born to be Yankee shortstop, the whole Jeter connection,
Oh, I love
it's
it.
going to get old real quick. Like, it's
No,
going to get
not
old.
if he's good. If he like shits the bed, sure, it'll go away.
No, it's
fast.
going to get old.
But nah, dude. Dude, you know I eat that shit up, bro.
Over under in his first week as a Yankee. Do you think they're going to show the picture of him and Jeter over under 5.5 times?
Under. I'm gonna guess twice. Once an opening day and then once more throughout the week.
I think they might show it like once every other game.
I mean, that picture is pretty sick, dude. Like, and there's a lot of them, man. There's pictures of him with Jeter.
The Todd Frazier picture, bro.
Was it a Todd Frazier? Are you talking about with the when he reacted on Twitter with the Didi Grand Slam against the Twins in the wild card game? Like, he's literally one of us, dude. That's my point. That's why it's so sick. It's as if one of us, like a diehard fan of the Yankees, is a shortstop of the Yankees one day. Like, that's just insane to me, bro. Like,
by the way, going back to the number thing real quick, whether or not I think he's going to keep 77, like the way I'm looking at it is the same conversation we had a while ago when we were talking about the number thing. I think that if he does pick number 77, like obviously it's a number that has meaning to him.
mm-hmm.
I think number 7 was his number he picked all throughout his life because his grandfather's favorite player was Mickey Mantle, I think.
Yep.
So if he wants to go with 77, cool. But I know the conversation we had a long time ago where you kind of took the stance of not every number can be cool, but I'm in the bucket where any good player can make any, like 77 isn't the coolest number, but I think if Anthony Volpe comes to the Bronx and becomes an absolute stud, he will make 77 an electric number, the same exact way Aaron Judge made 99 an electric number.
99 is different because 99's been a dope number before. When I said that though,
it was
Manny Ramirez wearing 99 was like pretty nuts. You had who's the guy from the Mets with all like the superstitions. Anyways, when I said that, when we were talking about Volpe's number, 77 hadn't been in play yet. In my head, I was thinking like, when I think high numbers, I'm thinking like 89 or like 91, like Peraza was wearing. 77 to me isn't like a totally random number. I think the consecutive digits or whatever that's called, that's pretty damn sick. And if Volpe does come out to be a stud and he's wearing that number, that with Judge is awesome. And then you have Jason wear 88 if he's not traded, although he will be.
But bro,
but that would be sick. No.
Higgy wearing 66 though.
Hey, I think it works. But my point is, I've kind of like walked back on that a little bit, especially watching Volpe's interview where they're asking him about it. I think the kid just wants to wear 77, and that's fine. Like, I don't want to, and I'm like as guilty as anybody, bro. I'm not trying. I don't want to like have like or us as a fan base like talk him out of a number he really likes and is special to him, especially because 77 isn't bad. 77 would be cool, like you said. I mean, if he balls out, bro, I've said this before. I think he'll be a top 10 jersey sell this year in baseball. Happy because nobody has him yet. He's a Yankee, but if he balls out, if he's a rookie of the year candidate, he'll be top 10. I would put my life on it, to be honest with you.
I think he wins unanimous rookie of the year, by the way. Just saying.
Yeah. How are you feeling about just the lineup as a whole? Is there anybody else like that you have a specific thought about or anything? Or
not really. I feel like
it's really
beat it to death at this point. Just my overall thoughts on the Yankees lineup is I think it could be better. But I do think that they could exceed expectations. Kind of like how in the first half of 2022, like we weren't expecting the Yankees to have the greatest first half of all time, right? Especially with that lineup. So I think they get it, bro. This lineup could turn heads, especially if you're looking at resurgences from Hicks and or Donaldson. I
think one of the reasons why it feels like we really beat the bush about like certain topics regarding the lineup is that in the end, the main storylines are Donaldson and Hicks and Volpe, really. Because outside of that, you kind of know what you're getting. I mean, assuming DJ's healthy, which this time of year you're going to do often, and he looks great in spring, kind of know what you're going to get out of him. You have Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, like assuming all these guys are healthy, which are obviously big ifs. Outside of Glaber, like, you know, having a meltdown after some trade rumors again, I don't know. Like, there's really the question marks is Hicks, Donaldson, and Volpe, which is an exciting one. But it's kind of just I was gonna say let's just agree. I would say right now, if we had to like rate the Yankees lineup, I think we could both say it's a 7 out of 10. Yeah, there you go, perfect. 7 out of 10. Perfect. I guess it's a good way to wrap that up.
Let's get into the Yankees rotation now because Dan, it feels like it was a while ago at this point, but we haven't talked about it. Luis Severino has gone down with an injury. Now, if you want to flash back to a couple episodes ago, we were talking about Luis Severino's struggles in spring training. I said the famous quote, I said, Dan, it will not surprise me at all if we find out in a couple days Luis Severino is pitching injured. What happened?
Still pessimistic, by the way.
Pessimistic, and it wasn't pessimistic. It was just
pessimistic, bro. It just every blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. I get it. Have your victory lap that Severino's injured. I understand. To me, that's like saying, yo, my friend over there, I think he might jump off the bridge. And then he jumps off the bridge like, yo, I fucking told you so, bro.
Okay, well,
No,
that's
I
not
get it.
what it is.
I get it. It
Okay.
sucks that Sevy's injured, though. I think we can both agree on that. We're going to have different takes here. I know. I do
Oh,
want to hear yours
100%.
first. I want to hear what
Yeah.
you have to say.
So basically, I mean, we're looking at the Yankees rotation now. We're coming into the season like a month ago at this point, looking at one of the greatest starting fives of all time. Am I wrong? We're looking at Frankie Montas, their number 5. We're looking at Nestor, Sevy, Rodon, Cole. And now we're looking at a starting rotation that only features 2 of those guys, and that is Garrett Cole, Nestor Cortez, and then it's going to be rounded out by Clark Schmidt, Domingo Germán, Johnny Brito. By the way, is it burrito or burrito?
It's burrito, but Jeff Nelson on the broadcast the other day said burrito.
Bro, I know.
Don't,
I think both of them
it's
were.
going to turn into a lasagna thing. But like this one's even easier to say. I think he should be a one-name basis, just Johnny. I think that sounds sick. Go on with your point, though.
Yeah. So regardless, that's what the Yankees starting 5 is looking like going into the season. And I guess now, like, we kind of evaluate like whether or not we're concerned, whether or not we think that the Yankees rotation is a problem going into this year. Because I know for a fact you think that it's fine, right? And I'm looking at it with a little bit of an opposite perspective, just for the sole purpose of like, we can't just sit here while the house, it's like that gif of the dog, right? And the dog's like sitting with his tea in the house that's on fire.
The house isn't on fire, though.
The
house is not on fire.
No. Hold on, Dan.
The house is on fire. My bad.
The house is on fire because you have 3 of your 5 starting pitchers starting the season on the IL. No matter what way you want to look at it, no matter how much you want to knock the importance of April games, we've seen in seasons past, we saw in 2021 firsthand, how April games can matter just as much as September.
I agree.
Yeah, so the way I'm looking at it is the Yankees, with a starting rotation that isn't that good coming into the season, they could put themselves in a hole to start the season where they might fall back, let's say 3 games on the Toronto Blue Jays. And if they end up falling short 2 games in the division at the end of the year, we'll look back at an April where they didn't have their top arms. And granted, I think if you want to make the argument like, well, I want them healthy for September rather than April, I'd rather them just be healthy for the whole season. Like, I don't think it has to be like choosing when you want them to be healthy. I think that it's perfectly fair and reasonable to look at the Yankees starting rotation going into this year and being like, it's not good. You know what I mean? I don't think that's screaming, but you're saying that the Yankees starting rotation is good.
The Yankees starting rotation is more than fine, more than good enough to get them by for April. Now, let me be clear here. I'm frustrated as hell about the injuries, particularly Severino, which I'll touch on real quick. I'm kind of just done with him in a way. I love him to death. And more so, I'm done banking on getting like the possibility of a full season from him. It's just not happening. And this latest injury has kind of changed my mind on, I don't know if I want really any part of giving Severino any sort of deal after he's a free agent this year. Like I'm kind of out on that. I love you, Sevy. It's borderline tragic how your career has turned out so far. However, with all that said, he's supposed to miss only 4 starts. And that is fine. I'm not even saying, well, I mean, it's fine if you think he may miss the whole entire year. No, I'm getting to it. It's fine if that's what you're thinking. But even so, Rodon is expected to be back, Pat, by April 18th. And if you look at the starters they have for the month of April to get by, first of all, you have Cole, you have Nestor, 2 of the top 10, 2 top 15, top 10 starters in baseball. And then you have Domingo Germán, who me and you have both, I don't want to say raved about before, but we're more than confident in his ability to get us through a game, keep us in the game, and win us games. We've seen, yes, as a 5, but this is the thing. It's baseball. It's a marathon. This shit happens. Like, were you expecting our rotation to be totally healthy the entire year? That's just not going to happen. Germán, for now, yes, is the 3. Clark Schmidt has looked pretty damn solid in spring. First-round pick, has elite stuff, a nasty breaking ball. A lot of scouts think he could be a number 3 starter in the big leagues, not counting injuries, so legitimate, as good as a number 3 starter in the big leagues. And it's just exciting, too, to have him be able to earn a shot. And Johnny Brito. Let's get to Johnny Brito, because here's the thing that I see a lot of people losing their minds about. And I think it's obviously because, they don't really know his name. And I get it. He's not he's never been like a top 10 prospect for them, or him, or anything for them. He's not a big strikeout guy. He's not all that flashy. But this dude is pretty damn good, dude. First of all, 208 ERA in spring. No hit the Blue Jays over 5 1/3 innings the other day. Faced like 15 batters. I think it was 11 ground outs, 3 strikeouts, and like a pop out. Ground ball machine, dude. Has nasty stuff. An insane changeup. 25 years old. And last year had a damn good year in the minors. Had a 2.96 ERA and was 11-4 over 26 games between double and AAA. So it's not like this guy is some scrub. And even so, he's pitching for probably a month. Now, I get it. Severino could be out for quite a long time. And if that's the case, then yeah, Clark and Domingo are going to be in there. We'll see how they do. But worst case scenario, man, even if they do shit the bed and Severino never comes back, the trade deadline is still available and the Yankees are good enough to get by until then. I'm sorry. The sky is not falling. And I don't want to, I was calling people out like crazy today and I stand by it 1,000%. But I want to clarify that people I'm calling out are the people that consider this to be like the end of the world. The sky is falling. If that's the case, if that's what you think, you're not really built for the sport, to be honest. It's a marathon. If you think that like injuries in April or injuries whenever, like if you just think that anytime that happens, that the season's over, I consider you as a fan a joke. I honestly do. And I know you don't feel that way. You're not saying the sky is falling, but I would say if there were a line, you lean a little more on the pessimistic side. And sometimes I can't really understand where you guys are coming from. I mean, opening day is on Thursday. The Yankees have a pitcher as of right now. And I get Sevy, I do, but Rodon is already throwing. He just threw a 30-pitch bullpen. He's feeling great. He's going to be back in like 2.5 weeks. So it's really just Sevy. That sucks. Yes, it does. But is it like the reason why somebody should declare the season over? No.
I know. But Dan, let's just take a step back for a second. Why can't we just admit the fact that it's super not ideal, especially if we discussed this 2 months ago, that Clark Schmidt was going to be the Yankees starter to start the second game of the season?
That means nothing. No, that means nothing. That
why does that mean nothing?
Stupid to bring up. No, because Clark Schmidt isn't the Yankees' number 2 starter. That's just the way that it's working out with matchups and all that. That's fine. If we're talking about
but that's also the way it's.
If we're talking about quality,
Nestor wasn't healthy the entire spring training.
Well, it's fine. We know Nestor's going to be good to go. He's pitching on April 5th against the Philly. That's when he's lined up for.
No, but that's why Nestor isn't starting the second game of the season because he wasn't healthy all spring.
Pat, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you have 5 games. Those 5 pitchers are pitching no matter what, regardless of what the order is. I don't really. That doesn't mean that's all semantics, dude. Like who's starting game 2? It's kind of like what people say about opening day. It's like opening. Pat, don't know me. What are you talking about? I'm making my point very clear. Let me hear what.
I'm asking a simple question as to why it's a bad thing to look at the Yankees rotation to start the season and just say that it's not ideal considering what we were looking at coming into the year.
Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I have no problem with those people. Pat, do not act like you're like calm about this, bro. You were tweaking the other day, dude.
Bro, tweaking in terms of what? The Yankees, bro, it's as simple as this. The Yankees are starting the regular season with 3 of their 5 starting pitchers not healthy, and it's not ideal to have that. Like, why is that an insane thought process?
Pat, the Yankees have to get through a month with two of the top starters in the American League, one solidified big league pitcher in Domingo Germán, who has proven himself to be able to win in the big leagues many times, and then 2 young prospects with great stuff that just at least on Brito's case,
but that's not what they were supposed to be coming into the season with at all.
Pat, Clark Schmidt was going to be starting regardless, dude. Even if Sevy wasn't
5th starter because Montas got hurt.
No, I understand that, Pat. We've been dealing with the Montas thing for a while now, so I kind of put him to the side.
Still counts.
But that's fine. But I feel like when Montas was hurt, people weren't exactly freaking out because he wasn't like what we considered one of the big dogs, though he was.
No, he was their loss. 5.
Yes. So with Rodon, though, that to me, if that were a long-term injury, I understand, but not to say for the millionth time, he's coming back on the 18th. So within 3 weeks, Pat, you're looking at a rotation of Cole, Rodon, Nestor, Clark, Domingo. And then Sevy might come back. It's possible. And if he doesn't, you have the trade line to acquire a pitcher. It's not like this takes the Yankees from the favorite to win the division to all of a sudden to the cellar. No.
Did anyone say that? I'm just saying it's not ideal.
Yes, they did, Pat. Yes, they did say that.
I said, did I say that?
No, Pat, you're just like, okay, listen, I know me and you are the ones that are talking on the show. I'm not always talking to you, bro. Like I'm talking to our audience listening, and I know some of them feel this way. Some of them don't. And I know majority of people are optimistic, and that's fine. But just in general,
but you think I'm crazy for thinking that that it's not ideal to have 3 of your starters on the aisle to start the season, no matter what way you want to look at it, and no matter
I don't
how
think that's
important
crazy
you want to look at
it.
it.
I made that
it's
clear.
Not
I made
ideal.
it clear. Pat, I've said this. I just said this. If you think it's not ideal and that's all where you're at, I agree. It's not ideal. Really, just from an excitement standpoint, that's where I'm frustrated. I want to watch Severino pitch. It'd be nice to see Rodon throw on the second game of the season. But I understand it's a baseball season. That's how this shit works. Pitchers are going to get hurt. Players are going to get hurt. When was the last time something went ideal? And I know we want that to happen, but chances are in baseball, probably not. So we just got to deal with it, dude. It's a marathon. I think we'll be just fine. And I'm not calling you like crazy or anything because the way you're talking, I think makes sense. You're just saying it's not ideal. But I want to ask you now, Pat, just concrete. Yeah. Do you think this starting 5 is enough to get us through the month of April and not destroy the season?
Is it enough to get through the month of April? Sure, but is it what we wanted for the month of April? No. And I also think like when we're asking the month of April, it's like I think the month of April is still just as important as the month of July or the month of
No, Pat,
August. Or like
I understand that. Of course it is. But
that's
what
why I
we're
feel like I
talking
don't want
about
to
here is,
discredit the fact that it's April, you know?
well, I mean, Pat, you've heard my rants a million times on that. Yes, of course. Opening day, you should freak out about just as much as the last game of the season. They all count the
Yeah.
same. However, you can't deny it's better to have these injuries happen now than if they were to happen in September
Yeah, but
before October.
yeah, but I don't want them happening ever. You know what I
No, I
mean?
understand.
Like,
If, dude, I'm with you on the fact that, and I know this got heated. And I am kind of just taking my anger out on some of the people I've seen that really, really pisses me off. And if anybody see me on Twitter, I apologize for some of my language lately. But just in general, this season, bro, I'm not tolerating just the unnecessary pessimism. You can be negative about the team. Yo, the way I work is I'm a rational short term, rational long term. So in game, I'm fucking tweaking, bro. Like the sky is always falling every time the Yankees lose. But sometimes you got to take a step back and understand, like I'm saying, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. This shit happens and you just got to deal with it. If you're not able to deal with it, you're not a good baseball team. So we'll see. Are the
I
Yankees
don't
able
think
to?
no, but I think there's an even middle, right? Like you don't have to be happy about it though. Like I'm not expecting
I
people to
ain't
be
sure as hell ain't happy, bro.
no, but you know what I mean? It's like I'm not expecting people to be overly optimistic about the Yankees going into the season with their rotation looking like this after what we were pitched the entire offseason and what we had expected all offseason. And now it's like, by the way, going back to Sevy real quick, I agree. Like, I don't think I gave my thoughts on him.
Done.
Totally given up on him. I consider him useless, not only to the Yankees
Okay,
organization.
relax,
No,
relax.
no,
I'm
no,
not
no,
saying
no,
that.
dude. I'm dead serious. I consider him having zero future here. Even if he comes back and has a stellar season, I can't see any sort of scenario where the Yankees give him a long-term deal. I think they would. I think any team would be stupid, out of their mind, to give Luis Severino a long-term contract. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, definitely not. I'm with you. I mean, that's the
I,
way I feel. And I love Sebby to death. And I think he's going to play a big part for them this season. Let's be clear. The lat injury isn't as bad apparently as it was last year. And even then, the Yankees gave him like an extra month of what he considered he needed as time off. But yeah,
I'm
no,
just
it's
tired of
it's
it,
it's
dude.
it's
It's
every
enough.
single year. It's frustrating. It's tiring. Like that's what I'm just irritated with is Sebby individually, not like irritated at him, but the situation, man, like it's kind of exhausting. And like I'd be lying if I said I wasn't like after this year, we'll see how it goes, of course. But yeah, kind of ready to move on, bro.
But wouldn't you say that you're being like pessimistic about Luis Severino then?
Well, but Sevy, I think it's valid, but that's not the whole thing. It's not like we like this is what really blows it or what shocks me is we lose Luis Severino, and all of a sudden, like we go from to some Yankee fans, the favorite to win the AL East to like we're not even going to contend anymore. That's the way some of these people are talking, which is
Yeah, but
just
dude,
insane to
like you
me.
shouldn't even acknowledge those people though. You know what I mean?
Pat,
It's not like not worth your
that's a very
time.
strong majority. And obviously, these people are exaggerating and in their emotions, but their voices are loud. So they have to be responded to. Like a lot of these people that are saying this are vocal people in like the Yankees Twitter community who a lot of them I like, but you got to take a step back sometime and understand, yo, is this not the sport you've been watching for the last 10 years? Did you think it was like a football season? We have one game a week and it's not some long fucking like,
Listen,
I just feel
listen.
like some people forget how to watch a baseball season sometimes.
I hate being the person to like play both sides, but I like to understand both sides. And people who are like overly pessimistic, I think it just comes from frustration. And I think it comes from frustration of like expecting a Yankees team on paper every year, and every year it seems to be much different than what they expected. I think people are just tired with high expectations just being let down every year. And I think that's kind of all what it roots from. So listen, that's all I'm gonna say.
I'm
Um
frustrated about it too, man. No, obviously, it just
Yeah, but I think you mask
I
the frustration with positivity, and some people mask it with
but it's
negativity.
not
That's
masking
all
though,
it
because
is.
that implies it's like I'm like covering it up. Like, no, it's very hard for me to not be optimistic long term. Short term, short term,
Torm.
yes. Torn, yes. But I don't know. We probably got to move on. That was a
Yeah.
good segment though. Good talk.
Before we get into topic number 3 here, I want to give a huge shout out to Foco. Code Yankees Avenue at checkout, save 15% off your order. They have the best Yankees merchandise in the world. They have the best baseball merchandise, football merchandise, WWE merchandise, just about everything, bro. Dan, look at the bobblehead. Look at the board shorts. Look at the hats. They got it all.
Code Yankees Avenue, 15% off, guys. Get yourself hooked up. It's almost that time of year, Pat. You know what? When it officially is that time of year, I think I might do a full episode in these. No shirt, maybe like a little beach over thing going on with the hat. I don't know. Almost time. And yo, even if you're not a beach guy, they got so much more than that. They got this dope wall art that you see on the wall. They got a bunch of stuff, bobbleheads, other apparel. Code Yankees Avenue, 15% off. Check them out. Get decked out for the season.
Someone sent me a message on Instagram with a picture of the wall art in their room.
Dude, honestly, we say it all the time. This is like the dopest piece of wall art. And it might be, is it crooked? Hope not. But yeah,
No,
dude, Foco, Yankees Avenue, code.
Shout out. But getting in topic number 3 here, let's talk about the Yankees bullpen a little bit because we kind of, bro, we beat the starting rotation to death.
I know.
But I think
this one should be kind of lighthearted. It was, yes.
Yeah, we beat the starting rotation to death. We beat the lineup to death. But now let's get into the bullpen a little bit. Obviously the Yankees have some injuries to their bullpen. Nothing too significant compared to what we're looking at, like in the lineup and the rotation. But I guess a few of the top names we're looking at in the Yankees bullpen to start the year. We got Wandy Peralta, Jonathan Loaiza, Ron Marinaccio, Clay Holmes, Michael King. Dan, which arm are you most excited for coming out of the bullpen this year?
All right, so there's a few names that I could have gone with here, but I'm going to go with one, and it might be for a bad reason, but for some reason I'm excited about it. Wandy Peralta, absolute dog last year, 2.72 ERA, was money in the playoffs for us. What I'm excited for, man, is he's a little more in the spotlight this year with the Yankee bullpen. You know, I feel like in the past, like entering last year and then when he came over in 2021, he was, even during like his best, like at least regular season wise going into the year, kind of like our 5th or 6th guy, was never what I consider to be like our high end reliever, right? Where you have the closer and like your 2 setup men. Yeah. This year, unless I'm mistaken, I feel like Wandy is going in as the 8th inning guy, at least with Canely definitely hurt. And dude, I'm kind of really excited to get as much high leverage Wandy Peralta as possible. Like last year in the playoffs, man, like I knew I loved him or liked him, but like the playoffs made me like, you know how we're reacting to him last year, dude. Like he just has balls of steel, dude. And I'm excited to see that more and more this year. So I'm going with Wandy Peralta.
Every ALDS game, by the way, every single one. Like let's not forget that.
I forgot about that. Like that's awesome. That's sick.
But yeah, listen, I usually like to pick a different player just for the sake of debate. But I'm sticking with Wandy Peralta just because of everything you said. I think that he's a dog. I think he's the guy. I'm not going to lie and be like, oh, I'm looking more forward to Ron Marinaccio this year. No, Wandy's the guy, bro. And I think it's the same logic I used with my Harrison Bader preview, where I thought Bader was going to have a big year because he's going to carry over that stuff from the postseason. I think Wandy kind of just figured it out, bro. And he's a dog. He has that killer mentality on the mound. He wants to strike you out on 3 pitches every single at bat, nothing more, nothing less. And I'm just really looking forward to seeing him just eat up some big, high leverage innings this year, dude. And I guess kind of for the sake of debate, I'll pick one more. And that's Michael King. I think that Michael King's a guy to watch this year just because we saw him have a stellar 2022 season. Obviously, he got cut short due to the injury, but I think that he's maybe on like a revenge tour this year, back healthy. And I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what he has.
How dare you disrespect the pride of Tom Driver like that? Ron Marinaccio,
oh, brother.
Dog, he was almost my first pick. I ain't gonna lie. He really was. I had a whole thing laid out in my head. I was gonna go with him. I'm excited for Ron, bro. Especially because, dude, we got cut short on our time with him last year. One, I don't want to say the Yankees mismanaging him, but, you know, they took advantage of the fact that he had options, so they sent him down when he was absolutely dealing. And then he ended up getting hurt. But, dude, 2.05 ERA last year in 44 innings was absolutely nuts. And his stuff is, in my opinion, at least that changeup, bro, arguably the nastiest. Like, for pitch to pitch comparison in the bullpen, his changeup might be the nastiest they have, along with maybe like Clay Holmes sinker. The Yankees have a lot of money arms in the pen this year. They really do. And yo, the ones coming back, like this is why the injuries for the pen, like you really shouldn't be all that concerned about, because while yes, some big guys are out, you still have a lot of big dogs left. So you're only going to get good reinforcements on top of an already pretty solid bullpen in getting Canely and Trevino back in May. So Canely a little bit on Severino vibes to me, by the way. Canely,
no, same. No,
right?
Same.
Like I don't want to bank on getting him back, but it would be nice.
I think the only difference between Canely and Severino is that, like, obviously Canely never had the expectations that Luis Severino had, especially like coming into this season, you know, but also at the same time, like, I think Canely's personality helps him a little bit more. I think like the fact that Canely's such like a fun loving dude, he's like a Nick Swisher type of guy, kind of saves him a little bit, you know?
Also, but I want to make it clear, like, I don't have anything against like Sevy personally about the injuries. Like, it really sucks. It's just like, and I feel bad for him more than anybody.
No, but I don't think we have to. I don't even think we have to mention that. It's like, we don't have anything against any of these guys as human beings.
Oh, that's not true. There's so many players that I just absolutely despise. Yankees, maybe not.
Name one.
A Yankee that I despise? Yeah. That's a good question now. Let me think. A Yankee that I despise.
As a human.
Dog. Ronald fucking Guzman.
I knew it.
Horrible human being. Horrible.
One of the worst ever. I wouldn't consider him a Yankee, to be honest. But no. I think it's safe to say, kind of like culminating this bullpen segment, I think it's fair to say, like, I'm least worried about the Yankees bullpen. If we're looking at like lineup rotation, bullpen is probably what I'm least concerned about.
Yeah, only thing I would be concerned about if I had a pick would be like the depth isn't amazing if more guys get hurt, but I'm not gonna like lean on that side 'cause I think
Oh,
we're at least gonna get one of the two injured guys back. But what's up?
yo, one thing I do want to say about the bullpen, I think everyone overrates Greg Weiser way too much. Way too much, bro.
Me too
You
on the
know?
eye test, but I can't because the numbers love him. Like his spin rate is apparently insane. And this bullpen stuff, I just kind of shut my mouth and just trust the Yankees. Like if they choose to put him on the open day roster, which those who don't know, like we're recording a little early, official roster's not out. But if they choose to put him on the roster, which I think is in consideration, while I think he just isn't all that good, what do I really know? I mean, if numbers say he's good and the Yankees trust him, like they probably know what's going on with him. But I'm with you, dude. I don't
He
see
does
it. Same with
nothing
Albert
for me.
Abreu too. I understand
I
he's out
like
of options.
Abreu.
So, oh, you do? No,
If I
see,
had to pick one between Abreu and Weiser, give me Abreu.
I'll take you on that. With you on that. But Abreu, I always say this, doesn't pass my sniff test. Every time I see him out there, same with, especially with him, the numbers love him. I get the whole spin rate and all that. Him especially, man. I watch him come out of the bullpen. Anybody that come out of the Yankee bullpen this year, assuming Abreu's on the roster, he gives me more anxiety than anyone.
No, but for what he is, I think
What is
he's
he?
good.
The Yankees have
I
enough
think he's like
talent
a
to where there is
mop-up
no
guy.
for what he is, though. Like the Yankees usually have good mop-up guys. Like I think, dude,
Not
you know who's a
necessarily.
sneaky pick? David Garcia this year. Stuff looks good again, dude. Looks good again.
We'll talk.
His
That's the
fastball's
next
up
segment.
there.
Next segment.
Cool.
Yeah. So getting to topic number 4 here, Dan. One player who's not on the opening day roster who you think will have an impact on the Yankees at some point this season.
All right, so I'm being so cheap with this, but we do have to talk about him, and I'm not going with.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
Listen,
I was
I
gonna
realize
pick it,
this.
whatever.
No, you were gonna pick it, and that's fine. This is one of the few instances, I know we just agreed, where I think it's kind of okay to agree, and I'll come up with another player afterwards. But Oswald Peraza. Now, some people are like tweeting out shit like justice for Oswald, thinking like they did him dirty and all that. Not a lot of people, just a small minority. What could you really expect? I mean, if you did label it a competition, like I'm saying this whole time, Volpe was a stand-up by far. Peraza batted 190. So you kind of, unless you're going to have him serve as a bench role, which you definitely don't want to do for a young developing player, AAA's the move. Now, one injury away, would we say? Like, let's say Donaldson gets hurt, or any infielder, if you will, like even Rizzo. Like, if any infielder gets hurt, you assume Peraza is the next guy up. So I wouldn't be shocked, Pat, by May 1st, Peraza is a starting Yankee every single day, honestly, just with the way injuries work and all that. So
Listen,
he's definitely the main pick.
in terms of making an impact, I'm picking Peraza for a different reason, and I think he'll provide the Yankees with an impact through trade.
Love it.
I don't necessarily see a way where Oswald Peraza makes an impact on the 2023 New York Yankees unless he's dealt for someone who can help the Yankees. Just because I kind of look at the Yankees infield depth right now, and I think it's really deep, especially at the major league level. I mean, especially if you're looking at like a rebound season from Josh Donaldson. So I think Peraza is going to be traded, whether that's for a starting pitcher if the injuries get any worse. Let's say Rodon's return gets set back at all. The Yankees are going to have to go out and acquire some sort of starting pitching. Just because, I mean, their minor league depth isn't really there either. So I think Peraza could be using a deal for that. Whether you deal him for an outfielder, let's say Hicks turns out really bad and Cabrera can't really get the job done. Regardless, I can see Peraza being traded for something this year that will help the Yankees. And
Better be top of the line. I mean, no, I'm with you. I think
that way.
I mean, for what I would want to do, I've been on the trade Peraza train for a while now. I think it come more so mid-season at the deadline, see what you need, reevaluate whether that's, a bat, Brian Reynolds, or maybe you do need a starting pitcher. One more thing I want to say on the starting pitching conversation, this is going way back. The Yankees do need to sign some depth there. Like maybe I don't know, like Chris Archer minor league deal, like stuff like that. Yeah, a little minor league deal that like even for just like a spot start here and there, because that shit is definitely gonna happen for sure. So I just want to mention that depth is always a good thing, whether it's talking the bullpen or infield. Real quick, we haven't talked about him, and if he gets traded by the time this episode airs, I'll cut it. But do you think IKF's a Yankee by opening day?
Yes.
I'm still going with no. I think he gets traded. Do you think there is a trade by opening day? Florial, no options left. I think we're getting something, a trade. There's a trade going to happen by first pitch on Thursday.
I think we'll get a trade on the morning of opening day.
It could be. And then he's not even on the roster for that game, but the Yankees need pitching depth in line, whoever that may be. I don't know. I think there's definitely a move coming.
I think IKF sticks around. Because personally, I think that he provides a role as far as like utility goes. Now, I mean, we saw him play in center field. We saw him like he plays every infield position really. I think IKF can have some sort of impact on the Yankees on the bench this year. Now that we're not
I
looking at him
just
as
think
like the starting shortstop anymore.
IKF is a valuable player, but he's not valuable enough to be making $6 million this year, I think. And that's fine. Like, get your bag. But if the Yankees are trying to stay under a certain budget of 273 mil or whatever it is, that 6 mil could come into play. So whether you want to trade him now or at the deadline, I think eventually he gets moved. I'm predicting by opening day. But the more and more I think about it, man, they should have just non-tendered him. They really should have. It would have made this whole thing so much easier. So much
They
easier.
did to Gary, bro. I mean,
They
by
did
the
not
way,
tender
who will
Gary.
not have it? What? Yeah, they did.
No, they traded him
Oh
to
no, they
Twins.
traded him. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
There was talk
Yo,
of that though for a long time.
getting into topic number 5, it is a fan question from our boy
Feo, shout out Feo. Yo, he hit me up and he was making sure the email was right. Cause I'm not gonna lie, like I've been busy as shit, not checking the questions the last couple weeks on the email. Shout out at what is it? The Yankees Avenue Show at gmail.com. Feo hit me up and really wanted us to read this question. I haven't fully looked at it yet, although I know it's kind of nuts. Lay it on us, Pat.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I quote.
Thank you.
Okay, hypothetical. You are guaranteed for the rest of your life, at least, can happen more, one World Series victory for the Yankees every 5 years. You are also guaranteed at some point a three-peat. The trade-off between the two of you, every single IL-worthy injury to the team for the rest of your life has to also happen to one of you, not both at the same time. You can pick and choose who gets what. Do you take the deal? So basically, if I'm like simplifying this and into just simple terms here,
Nuts.
so one, wait a minute, bro.
It's insane. All right. So basically it's Feo was asking that. I'm sorry. Let me just read this again, just so I know. People may need it at home too. You're guaranteed rest of your life, at least can happen more. One World Series victory for the Yankees every 5 years. Well,
Wait,
I need to get it too, pal.
No,
Also
I'm going to simplify it for you. Ready?
Okay.
So every 5 years for the rest of your life, one of those 5 years, they're going to win the World Series. And in like the lifespan of your life, they're guaranteed at least one three-peat. The trade-off is every single injury that happens to any player on the Yankees throughout that period of time happens to one of us.
Confirms it for me. Absolutely. 1000%. Without question. Now, my only caveat would be, did I use that word right? Caveat would be not the same injury multiple times. I don't know if he included that, but it's like, bro, I'm not trying to have a fucking strained hamstring like 57 times like every other week throughout the rest of my life. So I'm good on that if we can agree on that. But that's a no-brainer for me. And I like the idea of you don't know when the championships are coming either. So it's not like it's set in stone because that kind of ruins the fun of it. Like if somebody were to literally tell me Yankees win the World Series this year, glass ball type shit, I wouldn't want that. But you still don't know what's going to happen.
I disagree.
Honestly, dead ass. No, serious. Like I would do it.
I wouldn't. Dude,
I would. It's not like you're getting shot in the head. Like it's a little fucking, you pull your oblique, whatever, you know?
Yeah, okay.
Like the Yankees injuries right now, let's say. It's like, oh, you're 7, you got a little lat issue. You got a fucking, you got an oblique thing.
You want to get Tommy John every year?
Who has Tommy John? F. Ross and Heel.
Bro, at least one pitcher every year is guaranteed Tommy John. So basically, if we trade off each year, we're getting Tommy John surgery every other year.
Not as drastic of a thing, though, because we're not big league ball players. We just go about our lives.
Doesn't matter. So I don't want to have to get surgery every other year.
Dude, my one boy, or at least my brother's friend, my friend's brother, he has a torn UCL. He just lives his life with it. He's done a pitcher.
But I'm assuming if like you have the same IL-worthy injury, like, and you have to like, I'm assuming you have to get the surgery. That's what my assumption is. And like, bro, torn ACL, like, I'm sorry, there comes a point where it's like, I value my life, my quality of life, more than the Yankees winning the World Series. Sorry.
And that's where we differ, Pat. But that's okay. We know we're different, and that's fine. I look terrible today, by the way. Why is that? I was asking Pat, yo, guys, let me know at home. Every time I shave, my face just feels like a fucking piece of rubber. Have I been cursing a lot in this episode, by the way?
No, I think that was the first time.
Oh, word. Very good. Maybe I'll mute it. Maybe we should start bleeping out bad words.
That'd be funny.
I'm sorry, yo, to the parents that like, but that's, I'm not like a disrespectful kid, but that's kind of how I talk. Pat actually drops more F-bombs than anybody. You'd be
not true.
Surprised. But yo, that's kind of wrapping up this episode. But before we do that, we got to drop our record predictions, Pat. And you can go further with it if you want. I'm not going to like predict playoff shit because, yo, Yankees win the World Series. Duh. But my record prediction for the 2023 Yankees, I have them finishing 95 and 67, winning the AL East over the Blue Jays by 2 games. What, you pick 95 and 67 too?
Yeah. No, I actually just calculated. I did 162 minus 9.
In my head, I see the equivalent of the 2012 race between the Yankees and Orioles, to where they played well early, got to a big lead. Not exactly the same collapse as last year, but they kind of closed the gap a little bit. In this case, it'll be Yankees and Blue Jays. I think Yankees finished with 95 wins. Blue Jays finished with 93. 1 game difference or 2 game, whatever, how that math works. We win the AL East. And then, of course, the World Series. But
I agree. I'm going
we got to stop
95 and
agreeing,
67.
bro.
Yeah,
we agreed a lot today, but also disagreed a lot.
Yeah, but
I'm glad we had our
place,
blow up. Not a blow up, but when was the last time we yelled at each other? We were kind of yelling at each other before. And then you know what you do, Pat? You always just, you know what you always do? You know what you always do, bro? You always do. I'm not even saying it's in this instance. It's like you'll be passionate about a topic, and the second I get like a little loud, which I know I do, you'll be like, but Dan, like you're talking to me like a therapist, like Dan, you gotta take
I
a
don't know
step
what
back.
you're talking about.
I love it, and that's why I love you, Pat. But yo, the giveaway. Make sure you guys enter. Drop a comment, drop a like.
Wait. I want to say one more thing.
Go ahead.
I think the Yankees are going to win the World Series.
Yeah,
I didn't get to make. Yeah. Because bro, like if you're not going into every season thinking they're going to win the World Series, don't watch. You know
yeah, that's why. Like, dog, my boy Ryan the other day hit me up. He's a Mets fan. He's like, who's having more wins this year, Yankees or Mets? It's like, I love you, Ryan. But like, what do you expect me to say? I'm a Yankee fan. And then we were talking about the Worlds. Anyways,
the Mets are in a much tougher division. I mean, it doesn't really matter much anymore, but like you get my joke.
All right, yo, that'll do it. Season preview. Pat, where can they find you on socials?
Twitter and TikTok at Unhinged Patrick, and then also Instagram at True Hennessy. Also, Better Baseball, BETR Baseball, and just about everything, and the Better YouTube channel. I'm streaming on there every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon.
Hell yeah, dude. Dan on Work on Twitter, Dan on Work on Instagram, Yankees Avenue here on YouTube. I guess we made it, Pat. Off season's over. Spring training's over. Next episode will be after opening day. Right? Nuts. Yo, sign up for the giveaway. Do all that. Shout out FOCO code Yankees Avenue. Please show them some love. Yeah, dude. I almost like I'm holding on to signing off right now, bro. It's like shit. It's the last episode, and no, I know. I mean, we can't just stay here all day, but maybe the people would like that. Yo, see you guys next time. Next time we talk to you, season will have started. Let's go, Yankees.
Her body's going like September. She burns through the night like an ember. And all those things we try forgetting, I remember. But we say we all fine, we all fine.